She refused the limits her society would have set on her. She did not attain her power, however, by being herself. Instead, she created a persona that she could constantly adapt to her own desires, a persona that attracted attention and gave her presence. Understand this: the world wants to assign you a role in life, and once you accept that role, you are doomed. Your power is limited to the tiny amount allotted to the role you have selected or have been forced to assume. An actor, on the other hand, plays many roles. Enjoy that protein power, and if it is beyond you, at least forge a new identity, one of your own making, one that has no boundaries assigned to it by an envious, resentful world. The act of defiance is Promethean, and it makes you responsible for your own creation. Your new identity will protect you from the world precisely because it is not you. It is a costume you put on and take off. You need not take it personally, and your new identity sets you apart, gives you theatrical presence. Those in the back rows can see you and hear you. Those in the front rows marvel at your audacity. Do not people talk in society of a man being a great actor? Do they do not mean by that he feels, but that he excels in simulating, though he feels nothing. Denis Diderot, 1713 to 1784. Keys to power. The character you seem to have been born with is not necessarily who you are beyond the characteristics you have inherited. Your parents, your friends, and your peers have helped to shape your personality. The Promethean task of the powerful is to take control of the process, to stop allowing others that ability to limit and mold them. Remake yourself into a character of power. Working on yourself like clay should be one of your greatest and most pleasurable life tasks. It makes you, in essence, an artist creating yourself. In fact, the idea of self-creation comes from the world of art. For thousands of years, only kings and the highest countries had the freedom to shape their public image and determine their own identity. Similarly, only kings and the wealthiest lords could contemplate their own image in art and consciously alter it. The rest of mankind played the limited role that society demanded of them and had little self-conscious. A shift in this condition can be detected in Velázquez's painting Las Meninas, made in 1656. The artist appears at the left of the canvas, standing before a painting that he is in the process of creating, but that has its back to us. We cannot see it. Beside him stands a princess, her attendants, and one of the court dwarves, all watching him work. The people posing for the painting are not directly visible, but we can see them in tiny reflections in a mirror on the back wall. The king and queen of Spain, who must be sitting somewhere in the foreground outside the picture. The painting represents a dramatic change in the dynamics of power and the ability to determine one's own position in society. For Velázquez, the artist is far more prominently positioned than the king and queen. In a sense, he is more powerful than they are, since he is clearly the one controlling the image, their image. Velasquez no longer saw himself as the slavish dependent artist. He had remade himself into a man of power, and indeed the first people other than aristocrats to play openly with their image in Western society were artists, writers, and later on dandies and bohemians. Today, the concept of self-creation has slowly filtered down to the rest of society and has become an ideal to aspire to. Like Velasquez, you must demand for yourself the power to determine your position in the painting and to create your own image. The first step in the process of self-creation is self-conscious, being aware of yourself as an actor and taking control of your appearance and emotions. As Diderot said, the bad actor is the one who is always sincere. People who wear their hearts on their sleeves out in society and tiresome and embarrassing. Their sincerity notwithstanding, it is hard to take them seriously. Those who cry in public may temporarily elicit sympathy, but sympathy soon turns to scorn and irritation at their self-obsessiveness. They are trying to get attention, we feel, and a malicious part of us wants to deny them that dissatisfaction. Good actors control themselves better. They can play sincere and heartfelt, can affect a tear and a compassionate look at will, but they don't have to feel it. They externalize emotion in a form that others can understand. Method acting is fatal in the real world. No ruler or leader could possibly play the part if all of the emotions he showed had to be real. So learn self-control, adopt the plasticity of the actor who can mold his or her face to the emotion required. The second step in the process of self-creation is a variation on the George Sand's strategy, the creation of a memorable character, one that compels attention, that stands out above the other players on the stage. This was the game Abraham Lincoln played, a homespun common countryman who knew was a kind of president that America had never had, but would delight in electing. Although many of these qualities came naturally to him, he played them up. The hat and clothes, the beard, No president before him had worn a beard. Lincoln was the first president to use photographs to spread his image, helping to create the icon of the homespun president.